Good morning, everyone. And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Desert. I'm Bryna Blum, delighted to be sharing ministry today with Mel Wilkinson, Fran Hoag, and the two-person hardworking team that oversees the Chalice Circles each and every month. Stephen Toporoff and Diana Leslie, who will be joining us shortly from Mystic, Connecticut, who will also be facilitating a Chalice Circle on Zoom following today's service. At this time, please take a moment to silence your cell phones. As we begin, we acknowledge that we are on the historic homelands of the various bands of Cahuilla people, and we honor the unique relationship that we hope emerges between our community and the indigenous people and their traditional territories. Let this acknowledgement serve as a reminder to recognize, honor, reconcile, and partner with the Cahuilla people whose lands and water we benefit from today. In this congregation, we welcome people of all sexual orientations and gender identities, of all ages and sizes, people of all economic status and professions, civic engagement, of all physical and mental abilities, people of all races and ancestries and cultures. We welcome you wherever you come from, whoever you love, and whatever your immigration status. We welcome all those who will learn and grow with us as we commit together to embrace the rich and beautiful diversity of the world and to build a community centered in justice, compassion, and love. You are welcome here, and we are very glad you are with us this morning. It is important to us here in this community to create a safe and healthy environment for everyone who gathers in worship, including those who are immunocompromised or who have other risk factors. Our COVID protocols about vaccination and mask use are in place because we wish to do everything we can to protect all of us. A reminder that masks covering your mouth and nose are required to attend in-person worship, preferably KNS 95 masks. If you arrive without a mask, we have some available at the welcome desk. Please choose to act for the health and safety of our whole community. Our service is always available, streamed on our website, if you need to observe from home. If you'd like to be on our email list to learn more about us and our programming, please contact us at admin, that's ADMIN, at uucod.org, or visit our beautiful new website, uucod.org, and we thank Fran Hoag for doing such a great job. We have two announcements this morning. November 10th and 11th are the dates of our silent and live auctions. If you haven't yet done so, please notify Carol Lavoie or make your donation for this, our biggest fundraiser of the year, and you will have fun. Everyone's laughing. You know we all need to have more fun. Okay. Also, starting next Sunday, after service, Reverend Ian will be beginning a 4-week class on preaching for lay people. Should be very interesting. And now we will ring the Tibetan bowl. To begin our service and listen to our music for centering as played by the newest member of the UUCOD family. So please let's give him a great UUCOD welcome. Jeff Lester.
Good morning. My name is Diana Leslie, and I am joining you from Mystic, Connecticut, the homeland of the Pequots. This morning, we hope those of you in the sanctuary will participate in a Chalice Circle, along with Bryna, Fran, Mel, and Stephen. For those of you who are live streaming, I invite you to join me in a circle at the conclusion of the service. The Zoomer instructions are in the order of worship you received by email earlier today. Chalice Circles begin next month, and we'd love for you to consider joining one along with us. First, though, let me tell you about Chalice Circles and how they differ from other ways we gather and learn. The circles usually have 6 to 8 members and meet for several hours once a month from October through April. One of the members serves as a facilitator. A few days before we gather in person or on Zoom, an email is sent with that month's topic and a few brief readings and questions. The topics are usually drawn from recent sermons or from something else that we're familiar with, such as friendships or living with uncertainty. Our topic this morning is feeling joy in challenging times. Chalice Circles give us the opportunity to explore our spiritual beliefs and practices in a small group where we feel both safe and welcome to speak from our hearts. Every circle writes a covenant in which we promise one another to listen without offering advice or our opinions, to keep what is shared in the circle confidential, and to maintain the integrity of the group by attending the monthly sessions. This is your time to listen yourself into greater clarity about what you believe. It is meant to be a very personal experience. As the months go by, we gain an appreciation for one another's lives. Often we make new friends and deepen relationships. And best of all, we feel nourished and more reflected about our own lives and beliefs. After church, we'll be available to answer any questions you have and to help you sign up. And for more information, please go to ucod.org/chalice-circles. Please participate this morning. It will make the service and your experience richer for all of us. Thank you.
If you'll rise and join us, and let's it be a dance. We haven't done this for a long time, so let's do it with gusto this morning. If you'll join me and Fran in the lighting, chalice lighting and the unison aspiration. May love be the spirit of this church. May the quest for truth be its sacrament, and service be its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our aspiration. And for the biopac lighting candle, Fran wanders over to the candles. And join me as we light these candles in solidarity with Black, Indigenous, and other people of color as they journey toward spiritual wholeness. May we, as a beloved community, work to dismantle racism and all forms of oppression. May we live out our principles of justice, dignity, and equity for all.
Morning. My name is Steve Toporoff, and I'm going to share with you this morning, that's much better. I'm going to share with you this morning a little bit about my experience over the years with Chalice Circles. As many of you know, I came to the desert 2 years ago from the East Coast. For over 30 years, I lived in and around Washington, D.C. And while I was there, I was a member of Arlington Unitarian in Northern Virginia. When I first joined Arlington Unitarian, I attended a Sunday service similar to this one, encouraging us to participate in the Chalice Circle, or as we called them there, covenant groups. At the service, the minister explained that these groups were an opportunity to grow by exploring classical and contemporary spiritual issues in a small group led by an experienced facilitator, and with the benefit of a mutually agreed upon covenant. The church at that time had around 1,200 members. Being new, I figured participating in a small group would be a good way to get involved in the church community. So one fall Sunday evening, I met with 7 or 8 other individuals in the church community room. The participants included a doctor, an astronomer, architect, a head of human resources, a psychologist, and of course, being Washington, D.C., we had a few lawyers, including myself. At that first meeting, I had no idea that the group would continue to meet for 18 years and became an integral part of my spiritual and social life. Throughout the 18 years, we discussed every imaginable issue from a spiritual perspective. For example, we shared our views on the religions of our birth, how we were raised, and what brought us to UUism. We explored world religions, and we included a detailed exploration of the 7 UU principles. Another year, we used the annual cycle of holidays as inspiration. We explored life and death at Halloween, renewal at New Year's, love at Valentine's Day, and self-sacrifice at Memorial Day, among others. I remember during a discussion of gratefulness at Thanksgiving, one member shared how he was most grateful that he never experienced or had to go to war. I thought that that was profound. Perhaps the most meaningful exploration was when we shared our thoughts about the 10 Commandments and the 7 deadly sins. We were encouraged to think about how we would update both lists to meet contemporary challenges. What do you think the 10 Commandments would look like if written today? What core spiritual values would you carve in stone? And what about sins? What would you list as the worst sins today? Global warming, perhaps, racism, other forms of oppression? Participation in the group was also meaningful to me socially. Throughout the 18 years, we were there for each other, and we created a support network. We supported each other through the end of relationships, illness, and the death of one of our members. And then there was 9/11. We celebrated 2 marriages, finding new jobs, retirements, and the birth of children and grandchildren. We celebrated holidays together, and each year we volunteered as a group to work at the local food bank. But one thing that stood out for me the most during the 18 years was this. We live in a polarized society that can be judgmental, competitive, and oppressive. I often found myself among people who did not necessarily share my liberal religious convictions or who took spirituality seriously. It was a great comfort to know that I had a place to go to once a month where I was free and encouraged to explore religious thoughts and where I could learn from others' religious beliefs and experiences, and at times be challenged by those who had even more liberal or more conservative views than myself. So I hope you will consider joining a Chalice Circle this coming season. Bryna, Mel, Fran, and I will be available after the service to share our experiences and to answer any questions you may have. Finally, please go to the Chalice Circle webpage for more information, including a registration form. If you are interested in joining a circle, the page can be found at uucod.org/chalice-circles. In a few minutes, we are going to have the offertory. But first, I would like to remind everyone that this is Share the Plate Sunday. This is the last in a series of Share the Plates this year with Galilee Center in the Eastern Coachella Valley. Claudia Castorena, one of the co-founders, is here today to give us an update, including the upcoming expansion of their overnight shelter to assist more asylum seekers in transit and farm workers who come to our area seasonally to work with local crops. Please see the order of worship insert for a list of services they provide. So let's please welcome Claudia and be ready during the offertory to give generously as you are able so that UUCOD can make a group donation to support their important work. Claudia.
Good morning, everybody. Can everybody hear me? Well, my name is Claudia Castorena. As I was introduced, I'm one of the co-founders of Galilee Center since we started it 12 years ago. And I'm happy to be here. And also, before I give you an update, I just want to express my appreciation for your generosity these past 4 months. I feel Galilee Center is privileged that you, as a congregation, had chosen our charity to benefit from your donations, and we have had benefits from your donations. And in the past months, Martha, one of our workers, have been here giving you updates about our services and also the list that you have there, the yellow sheet. You probably are aware of the services that we provide to our community year-round in our local community that is in need. And you also probably know that we, in that facility in Mecca, have a shelter, OLG shelter, or Our Lady of Guadalupe shelter, that we have housed the migrant farm workers who come to this valley to work on the fields seasonally. Usually is through November, from November through July, the end of July, then August, September, it's kind of no more work. We have been housing before the pandemic up to 100, or well, probably 90 farm workers, seasonal farm workers. After the pandemic, and because it affected all the different jobs, our numbers on farm workers decreased significantly. But I think it was providential because around the pandemic a little bit before, in 2019, Galilee Center started receiving people that are asylum seekers, people coming to this country and applying for asylum seeking, and then the Border Patrol releases them with the temporary permit to be on this side in the United States while they seek asylum. But when they let them free, they don't have where to go. So that's when Galilee Center comes into place. We receive them, at the beginning, we used to receive them in Galilee Center. Right now, we have 2 locations in India that I cannot disclose for safety reasons, that we continue receiving families and individuals seeking asylum. As a matter of fact, these last several weeks, our numbers of those families and individuals have increased tremendously, probably 100, 120, almost on a daily basis. And what we do when we receive them? Well, the basic needs, we provide them with food, clothing. They have a shower they have they have an opportunity to clean themselves. But once they come to the realization, okay, I'm free, now I'm free to go to my final destination here in the United States, we continue helping them with contacting their sponsors, purchasing airplane tickets so they can go to whatever state they're going. Usually is back east. The majority go to states like Florida, New York, Pennsylvania. That's where their sponsors are. Some of them stay here in California, different places in California. So that's what we do with the asylum seekers. And moving to the farm workers, we do similar things, different population, but we still provide 3 meals daily for them, a place to stay, a healthy and a clean environment and safe environment for these farm workers to just have a place to sleep and then go to work the next day and come back and rest and go to work the next day and so on and so forth. Again, I mean, we are not able to do everything that we do if it wasn't because of the donations, our staff also, and volunteers, and prayers and good wishes, because believe it or not, prayers are powerful. And whenever we have the opportunity, we always ask for that spiritual support because we know we need it, right? And another update I wanted to give you is, and also that you supported as as church, was our backpack giveaway for our local students, from kinder to high school. We thought it was gonna be probably 800, 900 backpacks that we were going to give out, but we prepared just in case with 1,000 backpacks. Well, we provided 1,075 backpacks. At the very end, we were running out of backpacks, but we had donations left and backpacks left over. So at the very end, we were a few volunteers and me putting together backpacks right away, like very, very in a speed mode. And we were able to provide every single car, because we did a car drive-through. We were able to fulfill every single student and that went through our line. Nobody went empty-handed, thank goodness. So basically, that's what Galilee Center is happening about. And again, thank you very, very much for your support. And even though this is the last of the last month of the Share the Plate, I'm going to ask you to continue keeping Galilee Center in your minds, in your hearts, and continue praying for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. We're honored. We are honored to support Galilee Center. And now if the ushers will please come forward. I hope you all know that was called Happy. So. And now for our joys and sorrows for today, this Sunday in September. Here's to Jane Zahn's birthday. Sunflowers for my sunshine. Love you always, Mel. Now everybody, 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jane. Happy birthday to you. I was so happy to learn Jeff knew how to play Happy Birthday. Now, on a more serious note, Mac Rogers is going in for open heart surgery tomorrow. So if everybody will send forth their deepest healing prayers for him, he will need all of us at this time. A candle of gratitude for this community from Jane. A candle of welcome for our new pianist, Jeff Lesser, a joyful welcome. And happy birthday to Ingrid, although it's not yet, our beloved friend. We get her in a few weeks. And now for prayer and meditation, I call up Fran.
Dear friends, join me in a moment of silence. Let's close our eyes and relax our shoulders. Breathe in. Feel your hands where they lay and your feet on the floor. Breathe in love. Breathe out joy. Breathe in silence and hold that in your heart like a jewel. Remember all the joys and sorrows that are in your heart. Breathe in love and send joy to all your family and friends and loved ones. May all beings know love. May all beings know joy. Now Mel will lead us in Spirit of Life and Fuente de Amor.
Okay, are we ready? Just stay seated.
Diana and I talked about Chalice Circles in general. So Fran, Mel, Bryna, and I Fran, Bryna, Mel, and I are going to go through a little bit of a Chalice Circle for you, kind of like a taste of Chalice Circle. As you know, the theme for today is joy in challenging times. As Diana mentioned in her opening remarks, a Chalice Circle is guided by a covenant. And you can find a copy of the covenant in the order of service and also online at the UUCOD webpage. And here's how the circle will go. We will have a brief check-in and a reading, sharing, and then some closing words. So let's begin with the check-in. You already heard my experience with Chalice Circles, so I turn it over to the group. Anybody wish to share about their experience over the years with Chalice Circles?
I'll start. I will be starting my 4th year as a Chalice Circle facilitator. As an introvert, which I know you all find really hard to believe, but as an introvert and a very private person, I really stepped outside my comfort zone in joining a Chalice Circle, and even more so, becoming a facilitator. But let me tell you, I did something really, really good for myself in joining. My circle meets on the 3rd Sunday of the month at 2 o'clock here at church. We've been meeting outdoors with snacks, so that's, yes, we have to bribe them to come. No, of the month. And let me just make sure I'm in order here. And we not only learn from one another, but we trust and enjoy one another. Our 2 hours together every month has become very sacred to all of us. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mel Wilkinson. And one of my first experiences walking into a Chalice Circle was that I really don't want to be here because I don't want a group therapy session. I thought that that would be horrible. So it turned out that it wasn't a group therapy session at all. It turned out absolutely different from what I had thought. And one of the things that I have learned about Chalice Circles, it allows me a little bit of freedom with my spirituality and flexibility of spirit. It allows me to stretch a little bit and to absorb others' energy. And that is priceless. Our group, I'm a facilitator also. I'm in my 2nd year. Actually, it astounded me to become that I said I would do that because I don't do those things. And so this is my 2nd year. So we meet on Fridays at 1. We're on Zoom right now because some of our people are still back there and not here yet. And we all have a good time. It's a women's group, and we love being together. And I hope you join us on Fridays at 1 o'clock.
And I'm on Fran Hoag. I've been in a Chalice Circle now for a couple of years. It's been really a wonderful experience. We meet, I'm in Steve's group, and we meet on the 3rd Wednesday of the month at 1:30. Yes, I had. Here. Here, I'll let you speak.
No, just what Fran just mentioned. My Chalice Circle meets here the third Wednesday of the month at 1:30. Any other remarks? Well, you know, sometimes Chalice Circles have a life of their own. So after a check-in, we usually have an opening reading. And again, the topic is joy, so I'm going to turn it over to Bryna for our opening words.
The one thing you should know is that no matter how serious the subject, we do laugh a lot in our circles. That's very good medicine. The poem today is Joy Sits Quietly. The other day, I was talking to a neighbor, and we decided joy must look different than it used to. Not that joy has ever looked the same to everyone, but these days, joy seems to find itself snuggled up close to uncertainty, or sprouting in little spiderweb cracks of the old ceramic pots that got left outside all winter. These days, joy can be kind of subtle, can't it? There are these fleeting moments when you can't believe how wonderful it is to be alive, right next to the times that stand still, times laced with worry, lament, and self-loathing, feelings that have rather strong staying power. And instead of telling you not to feel these things or offering empty reassurance that everything will be fine, joy just sits quietly in your shadow until you notice she's not giving up on you.
Thanks, Bryna. As Diana mentioned, before the Chalice Circle meets, the facilitator typically sends out an email to the group in advance with the poem or opening readings or other thoughts that might be a source of inspiration. In addition, there are questions or thought pieces. And for today, considering our topic is joy in challenging times, I offer 3 questions for consideration. First, in these challenging times, what are your thoughts about being joyful? Second, do you find it difficult to be joyful these days? And third, how do you bring more joy into your life? Bryna, Mel, Fran, any thoughts?
For me, it's all about music. It just calms me and makes me happy and takes me to a better place when things aren't going exactly the way I would love them to be in this world of ours. So I think that's my first thought, or cooking. My sweet spot is in the kitchen. Fran?
Well, my thoughts on this were, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, why should I be joyful when other people are experiencing trauma and sadness, and feeling sort of like, well, I'm not entitled to feel joy. But I also know that joy is the kind of thing that kind of springs up on you. It's spontaneously. It's like a surprise, a wonderful gift. It's a wonderful opening of your heart. And I think I'm trying to remind myself to silence that little nagging voice that says, suppress your feelings, but to learn to be open-hearted and receptive to joy when it comes.
I have a difficult time sometimes finding joy in everyday life. One of the things that I have found, actually it's come to my attention recently, but it's been there for years now. And one of the things that I have found that brings me joy is people. I never thought I would say that because I've always been such a loner. But being with people and being with the people I enjoy so much fills my heart with joy. So it makes me glad to be here today.
Well, thanks for your sharing. And now it's your turn. I open it up to the audience. If anybody has any thoughts about joy in troubling times, how to bring joy into your life. So I get to play Phil Donahue and Linda.
I'm going to follow up on what Mel said. And it's not just people, it's actually the people in this room, in this congregation, that bring me joy. Just all the lovely things that we get to do together. And even yesterday we had a board retreat, and we shared some pretty deep things, and we worked on some things for the church, but we also really enjoyed each other's company, and were able to have some laughs. So even things that seem like they're going to be difficult or boring can bring a lot of joy.
Sure. Margaret.
Thank you. I'm Margaret. I have been reading a lot lately about how random acts of kindness create joy in our lives. And beyond the fact that sometimes Sandy and I drive through Starbucks and pay for the car behind us, but I always ask, how much are they spending? So I realize that, my joy sometimes does have some guardrails a little bit. But that aside, reading about how random acts of kindness create joy in our lives, I really believe that. And I want to say this morning that, kind of tearfully, without naming names, a member of this congregation engaged this morning in an act of just kindness towards me, and with a gift that was totally unexpected, and it created great joy in my life. And I hope that the individual who bestowed this wonderful gift upon me also felt some joy in that. So that's how I find joy. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello. So I've participated in 2 Chalice Circles. Hello. So I've participated in 2 Chalice Circles. The first time this congregation did it was when we had Reverend Paul, and that went on for a little over a year. It was a very positive experience. Particularly for me, it was getting to know people I didn't see at church, because not everybody who's a member of this congregation can make it on Sundays. And then also, this last time I was a Chalice Circle leader, and it just ended up being the gay men's Chalice Circle. Not because it was planned, that's just the way it worked out, and it was a lovely experience. When the pandemic hit and we went to online, I really struggled to feel spiritual nurturing while doing it online, and I eventually stepped down from leading it. And what I want to say about joy is, someone mentioned up front about, sometimes joy springs forth naturally. And for those of you who know me, I'm a pretty joyful person, and I exude a lot of joy, and I'm open about it. But the pendulum swings the other way. I also suffer from depression, and some days I could dig in my heart, all day long and not find any joy, just darkness. And so, it's wonderful when the joy's there, but when it's not, finding that joy can be very extremely challenging.
Good morning. While I second all the comments about the people in this congregation that bring joy to my life, one of the things I was thinking about was at the beginning of the pandemic, Bill and I were sitting at home day after day after, as you all know, and we finally just decided we need to find some joy here. So we just set aside Thursday every week, and we would take a short day trip. Some of you who are on Facebook followed some of our adventures, but one day we just got up, got in the car, drove to Laguna Beach, and sat on the beach, and just loved every minute of it. And it really we did it through the whole pandemic. We don't do it right now, although occasionally we just say, we need to get out of the house, get in the car, go up Highway 74 to Idlewild, have lunch, and come back home. And it just puts a whole new aspect on, what we're dealing with. We're still dealing with it. Thanks.
Anyone else?
Yes, I'm one who kind of puts joy and peace and thankfulness together in the same box. And I have found very recently, because of surgeries, how incredible the medical profession is. And with all of the doctors and the nurses that have attended me, that have made me feel joy in the people that care so much. They really do care a lot. And then people from this congregation that have shown their affection and their care as well. I really appreciated that. And then you also recognize that there are other people who are suffering who, in spite of their suffering, share their care for me. And, sharing that back and forth is a thankfulness, and it gives you a sense of peace, and that there is well-being in a world of people who care for each other. And that's very joyful.
Thanks. Anyone else? Ginger?
Aside from all the wonderful things everybody has shared, I find a lot of joy from my cat. He thrills me, annoys me, worships me, and teaches me. And that brings me a lot of joy and gratitude.
Thanks. So that's a little bit of a taste of what a Chalice Circle is like. And we typically wrap up our circles with some closing words. So, Bryna?
I'm just going to read the last 4 lines of the poem that I read. So kind of close your eyes and just take them in, please. Remember, joy just sits quietly in your shadow until you notice she's not giving up on you.
Thanks, everyone. And again, Diana Leslie is going to lead a Zoom Chalice Circle after the service, and the link is in the order of service or in the information that you received through email this morning. And now let's have today's closing hymn. Please rise as you are able for Blue Boat Home.
Still I cry, my heart gets
Thank you for your services today. Today we extinguish this chalice, this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. For our closing words this morning, we are visited by our old friend, the poet Mary Oliver, who says with emphasis, if you suddenly and unexpectedly feel joy, don't hesitate. Give in to it. Whatever it is, don't be afraid of its plenty. Joy is not made to be a crumb. There's a nugget of truth about our work inside of this, and life, amongst other things. When we find the work that makes us and others happy, when we find a sense of belonging and of purpose, it's not made to be a crumb. Whatever we're good at, whatever we make a positive contribution with, it's worth doing more of. It probably won't just fall into our laps. We'll have to work at making it more than just a nice thing to do sometimes. Take the whole cookie, not just the crumb. Thanks, Mary Oliver.